Okay, good morning, class. So at this point we're looking at trigonometry. We're busy with exercise 7.10. No, that was homework. Or 7.9. Okay, let's go to 7.9 first. Any issues there? Alright, let's go to 7.9. Which page is exercise 7.9 on? There we go. Steal it from there. Alright, so those were the sums you had to do, no? Because yesterday we had to do the first column. So in number 1, any issues with number 1? Number 2? Number 2? No. Take this off here. Number 3? Right. What in number 3 is the problem?
P.
Sorry? P. So the left hand side. So what do we do for negative 120? Add 360. We then get positive 240. Now in which quadrant is 240? Sorry? Third quadrant. How do you get to the third quadrant? Plus 60 times. That's 690 minus 360. We get 330. Not so. Which quadrant is 313? Fourth quadrant. How do we get into the fourth quadrant? Over. 2 to 5 is in which quadrant? Sorry? Third. How do you get the third quadrant? Alright, cos 180 plus 60 takes you to the third quadrant. It's cos positive and negative. Negative. Cos 60 times 360 minus, which quadrant is that in? Fourth quadrant. Sine positive and negative? Negative. Sine 30 over 180 plus, which quadrant is that in? Third quadrant. Sine positive and negative? But because it's squared, it remains positive. 30, 60 and 45, you take it to the triangle. There's 1, 2, root 3. 45. 1, 1, root 2. Negative times negative, of course, is positive. Ultimate answer is positive. Cos 60 times sine 30 over sine squared 45. So, cos of 60. Cos is adjacent of hypotenuse of sine of 30. So of sine of 45, 1 over root 2. Now 1 over root 2 squared is 1 over 2, not so? So that cancels 1 of those, so the answer is half, which is equal to the right hand side. Who asked this question? Where did you go wrong? Okay, forgot to bring the square down. Okay. Any other problems? Number 3. Number 4. Any problems with number 4? No, you did number 4. Number 5. Okay, I'm going to do that one. And again, this is how it's found in the exam. Like this. Okay. So, again, make sine alpha the subject of the formula, take 35 over. So sine alpha is equal to negative 35 over 37. Okay, so this tells us what? That sine is negative. So it's all stations to clear one. Which quadrant is sine negative? Third and fourth quadrant. You were told that tan is greater than 0, which means to say tan is positive in 1 and 3. So I draw it in the third quadrant. Here's my angle, always comes from the positive x-axis. Sine stands for opposite over hypotenuse. So it's 35 is my opposite, relative to that angle there. And my hypotenuse is 37. The hypotenuse is never negative. So that negative sign belongs to the 35. Also, remember that negative 35 over 37 can be written as negative 35 over 37, which is also 35 over negative 30. All of those is the same. It doesn't mean that the negative I wrote on top, it belongs actually to 35. You understand? So how do we calculate the adjacent side? And we know that the adjacent side is going to be negative. Why? It's the negative part of the x-axis. So let's go with the adjacent. So it's going to be 37 squared is equal to negative 35 squared plus your adjacent side squared. So 37 squared minus 35 squared square root thereof, and I give you 12. So my adjacent side is going to be negative 12. You all agree with that? Right. Now we can answer anything with regards to this. So let's go. A. Cos alpha. What does cos stand for? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's negative 12 over 37. Let's look at B. Cos negative 270 plus alpha. So what do we do for the negative angle? Add 360. You then get cos of 90 plus alpha. Can you see that, people? There we go. All stations to Claremont. 90 plus alpha puts you in which quadrant? Second. Positive and negative? Negative. Although we change this to sine. Why does it change? 90. Okay. So we go sine. So it's negative coming from the state of sine there into sine alpha, which is negative 35 over 37, which is 35 over 37. Okay. C. Tan of negative 180 plus alpha. Tan of negative 180 plus. So what do I do with the negative 180? Add 360, which gives me 180. So it's tan 180 plus alpha. Third quadrant. Tan positive or negative? Huh? Positive. So tan is opposite over adjacent, which is negative 35 over negative 12, which is 35 over 12. Okay. Any other issues here? Then we went on to ratios in terms of a letter. Ratios in terms of a letter. You have to do exercise 7.10. You have to do the odd numbers, not so? So I'm going to do number one. Let's do that one. Okay, so I'm going to do the odd numbers. Is that okay? Yeah, you guys wrote the test yesterday. I'll give you the test back when we're done with these two sums. Okay. I don't understand. When I ask you, is there any problems? And you say no. When I mark your test, it looks like I'm marking another class's exam. Doesn't make sense. So if cos of 25 is equal to t, cos of 25 is equal to t. So what can be done here? You can say, of course that's in the first quadrant, so I don't have to draw it, okay? In the quadrant. So we go here, this angle is 90 here, 25. So what does cos stand for? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent is going to be t, the hypotenuse is going to be 1. What did this work out to be here? Square root 1 minus t squared. Okay? What's the size of this angle here? 65. So let's see. So tan 25, tan is opposite, which is the root of 1 minus t squared over t. Opposite of adjacent. B. Sine of 25. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the square root of 1 minus k squared over 1 is the square root of 1 minus k squared. T squared. You all know how we got that, no? Yes. I explain how I got 1 square root of 1 minus t squared. Huh? No, okay. Sorry? No, somebody gave me that answer. So my question is, do you guys understand how the person got to that? Yes. And then my second question was, must I explain how they get it? No. Okay. So you all understand, no? Yes. Okay. So you got sine of 65. So sine is, there is now 65 degrees. Not so, sine is opposite, which is t, over 1, which is t. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at D. Sine 245. How do we get into 245? 180. So it's sine 180 plus 65. Which is negative sine 65. Again, sine of 65 is going to be negative t. DE. 10 of 205. Which quadrant is 205 in? Third quadrant. So it's going to be 10, 180 plus 25. 10 is positive in the third quadrant. The 10 of 245 we worked out already? No? 10 of 25 is the root of 1 minus t squared over t. Any issues thus far? No. Okay. If sine of 385, that's over 360, so what do I do? Minus 360. Give me sine of 25. What's sine of 25? Opposite of hypotenuse. So it's the root of 1 minus t squared over 1, which is the root of 1 minus t squared. G. Cos negative 335. Negative angle. So what do? Add 360. So it gives you cos of 25. Cos of 25, we know it's going to be t. That comes from here. Okay. Any problems there, people? No? The last one. I'm going to do number 3. Do you want me to do leave number 3 or do 2 and 4? 2 or 4? Did anybody have a problem with 2 or 4? Huh? Nobody had no problem here. Yes. Number 4 instead of 3. Okay. Okay, so cos of 37 equals k. So that can be written as cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So here's your 37 degrees. My adjacent is k, hypotenuse is 1. Apply Pythagoras and what do I get? Square root of 1 minus k squared. Did you make a mistake there or did you get that part right?
So I made a mistake. So the 1 square of 1 minus k squared, I wrote it right and the adjacent of 37.
The adjacent to 37. You must remember that cos of 37 equals k. Now in ratio that will be k over 1 as a fraction. Why do I write that as a fraction? So that I can distinguish what is your adjacent and what's your hypotenuse. So that's why that is your adjacent to that. Okay? Well, I'm going to do it anyway because I already started here. So let's go A. So it'll be tan of 37. What's the size of this angle there? Sorry? 53. Huh? 53. So tan of 37. Tan is, what does tan stand for? Opposite over adjacent. So square root of 1 minus k squared over k. B. Cos of 53. What does cos stand for? Adjacent of hypotenuse. It's k over 1, which is k. C. Cos of 323. Which quadrant is 323 in? Fourth quadrant. Is cos positive or negative? Positive in the fourth quadrant. There's 360 minus 37, which is cos 37. Not so. Cos of 37 is k over 1, which is k. Let's look at D. Yes? Yes, my mistake. I'm looking at this angle here. And it's supposed to have looked at that angle, so it's adjacent. So that should have been the square root of 1 minus k. Square root over 1, which is square root of 1 minus k. Thank you. D. It is sine of negative 37. So add 360, so it becomes 360 minus 37. Which takes you to the fourth quadrant. Is sine positive or negative in the fourth quadrant? Negative. Sine 37. So it's negative. Now sine 37 is opposite of our hypotenuse. So the square root of 1 minus k squared over 1, which is negative root 1 minus k squared. Let's look at E. Tan of 233. Which quadrant is 233 in? Third quadrant. So it's going to be tan 180 plus 53. We stand positive or negative in the third quadrant? Positive. Tan 53. Tan of 53 is opposite over adjacent. So it's k over the root of 1 minus k squared. If is cos negative 323. It's a negative angle. So what do I do? Add 360, which gives us cos 37. Is that correct? Cos of 37 is k over 1, which is k. You all agree with that? G. G is sine of 757. You subtract 360, what do we get? 397. Sine, which is? I mistake again, what's the name away? 360. So it's sine 37. I didn't have to write this, okay? And sine of 37 is opposite of hypotenuse, so it's the root of 1 minus k squared over 1, which is 1 minus k squared. You all agree with that? Yes. Right. For homework. Okay. Which page is this on? Let's just establish some homework for you guys. Okay. So we're going to do general solution from chapter 6. So we're going to leave this chapter for a while. Not a while, probably like 4 lessons. So that general solution will come afterwards. Okay. But what I want you guys to start working on in the meantime, this is for not Monday, next week Monday. No? But then we should be finished with all this work here. So what is the date next week Monday? 16th. Not Monday coming. The following Monday. So it's right there in the group, the 23rd of May. It's a hand-in assignment. Assignment I want you to hand in, okay? By this point, we would have finished all this work. Okay, by that point, next week Monday, on the 23rd of May, all this work should have been completed already. Inshallah. No? But what we have covered thus far, from this revision exercises, this revision exercise on page 251, we have covered number 1 all the way up to number 12. From number 1 to number 12, we have covered already. So 13 and 14 deals with general solution, and that is what we will be doing first in chapter 6 when we're busy with drawing of these graphs. Okay. So I'm going to stop. No, we're not going to stop the video. I'm going to give you your homework for tomorrow. Okay. You go to chapter 6. Chapter 6. Three graphs. Just get up there. Yes. For some reason or other, the 3 graphs was the worst answered question in paper 2 for the school. For our school. No? Every school have their own weak points. Okay. But 3 graphs has been answered very badly last year. Okay. So if you don't understand something, please ask and I'll try and explain. Okay. So 3 graphs, revision, this means to say it's grade 10 work. For tomorrow, I want you guys to do exercise 6.1. Okay. You need to do it for you to see what the issues are. Okay. So it's exercise 6.1. Let me just get out there quickly. 6.1 is on page 188. Okay. Statistics not for tomorrow. For Monday. So you got work for Monday, you got work for next week Monday, and you got work for tomorrow. Okay. So you must prioritize your time. And all that free period you guys got, no? Use it. Okay. So for 6.1, you should be able to draw these graphs without a calculator and so on. Okay. This is a very important exercise for us to establish where you guys are. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video at this point, and then we're going to hand out the test and get back with regards to that. Okay. Alright, so we're back. This was class test 2, term 2. Okay. People, this is what you're supposed to have written for 15 marks. No? How much marks is this? 15. No? Not? Okay, I'd rather not going to say. Try and keep my comment to myself. No? Sheesh. Right, Yechatos. So, we are told to evaluate. Evaluate, determine, simplify means all the same thing. Okay. We got 660. So that's an angle over 360. Not so. So what do I do? Minus 360. So I then get sine of 300, what? 240. So 240 is in which quadrant? So it's going to be in the third quadrant. How do you get in the third quadrant? 180 plus. So it becomes sine 180 plus 60 degrees. Done. That's a negative angle. So I add 360. So it then gives me 240. So it's tan of 240. Same story. 180 plus 60. Minus cos 225. Third quadrant. Which is cos squared 180 plus 45. Okay. So in the third quadrant, sine is negative, so it's negative sine 60 times 180 plus third quadrant, tan is positive, tan of 60 minus 180 plus third quadrant, cos is negative, but because of the square it remains positive, cos squared 45. So now that takes us to special angles. Not so I told you to write it on the side. It's going to be 30, 1 to root 3. I need a 60 degrees. And I need this isosceles triangle, 1, 1, root 2. So sine of 60, tan of 60 minus cos squared 45. So sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. Tan of 60, opposite of adjacent, is root 3 over 1. Cos squared, this was without this calculator, no? As cos is adjacent of hypotenuse 1 over root 2. So that's going to give you negative root 3 times root 3 is 3 over 2 minus 1 over 2, which is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. It was 4 marks. If you got that in order, you get 1 mark. Alright? For your ratios, it was 1 mark, another mark, and then there was 4 marks. Okay. I think I moved to that one there, if I'm not mistaken. But that's from the memory, okay? So let's look at the next one. The next question . Oh, this line belongs here. So looking at the next sum, it says prove the identity. Left and right hand side story. So we got left hand side. So tan can be written as sine theta over cos theta plus cos theta over 1 plus sine theta. People, what's the LCM? People, I've seen people cancel that sign. How can you cancel that? Is it? Yes. What's your LCM? Cos theta into 1 plus sine theta. So what must that be multiplied by? 1 plus sine theta. So it's sine theta into 1 plus sine theta. Plus, this must multiply by cos theta. So it's cos theta times cos theta. So let's multiply. Get rid of the brackets. There's going to be sine theta plus sine square theta plus cos square theta over cos theta into 1 plus sine theta. So what is sine square theta plus cos square theta? 1. So it's going to be sine theta plus 1 over cos theta into 1 plus sine theta. So what's going to happen here now? That cancels. Leaves you with 1 over cos theta, which is equal to the right hand side. As you can see. Okay? The marks were as follows. I gave you 1 for changing tan to sine over cos, 1 for getting your LCM right, and 1 for the numerator there, and 1 for changing sine square theta plus cos square theta to 1. 4 marks. Okay? And cancelling there. The next question in question, number 3. Given that x equal to 4 cos beta and y is equal to 3 minus 5 sine squared beta. Okay. Remember, this was, I think it was last year's grade 11s, where this, exactly this, you test this one and the one prior to this, test 1. Together that made the June exam, the Trigs of June exam. Remember, all these questions comes out of past papers that I've said already. So learners has written this already. Okay. So imagine you had to write this paper. Then this is the mark you would have got. Okay, that's a reality check. So how do we do this? This is an identity again. So let's go left hand side. So what is x? X is 4 cos beta, it must be squared, plus y is 3 minus 5 sine squared beta. No, sine beta, all squared. So that's one mark. So I simplify. So that now gives me 16 cos squared beta plus 9, that times 2 is negative 30 sine beta, plus the last term squared, which is 25 sine squared beta. If you look here, we only have sines. Not so. So what I do is I replace cos squared. Yes, so easy. So that becomes 16 into 1 minus sine squared beta plus 9 minus 30 sine beta plus 25 sine squared beta. Multiply that story out and you get 16 plus 9 is 25. It's actually at the back. Okay, just leave it, it's 25. Minus 30 sine beta. That minus 16 plus 25 is 9 sine squared beta. So as you can see, it's a trinomial being formed here, not so. Which now gives me the square root of 5 minus 3 sine beta all squared. If I swap this around, negative comes out. Because of the square, it remains positive. So I can swap this around because of space. I'm just going to swap it around here, so it will become 3 sine beta minus 5 squared. That cancels, that equals 3 sine beta minus 5, which is equal to the right hand side. The last question in question is number 4. In number 4, they ask you again to evaluate. So 10 can be written as what? Sine 1 over cos 1 times sine 2 over cos 2, sine 3 over cos 3. Okay, times. That can be written as 10, sine 87 over cos 87. Sine 88 over cos 88. Sine of 89 over cos of 89. Now you see that this here, the co-ratio of sine is cos. Not so? However, that can be written as cos of 1. 89 plus 1 is 90. So keep the first, so sine of 1 over cos of 1 times sine of 2 over cos of 2 times sine of 3 over cos of 3 times the co-function of sine of 87 is cos of 3 over sine of 3 times sine of cos of 2 over sine of 2 times cos of 1 over sine of 2. You see that? What's going to happen now? Sine of 1 cancels sine of 1, cos of 1 cancels cos of 1. Sine of 2 with sine of 2, cos of 2 with cos of 2. All of that cancels. Leaves you with 1. 3 marks before. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. People, enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon, class.